Crapping on kids for not knowing artists who peaked before they were born makes no sense. I'm sure half of the boomers that do this weren't absolutely in love with Beethoven or Mozart or Bach either, despite them being the greats as well. Recently people have been roasting Billie Eilish for not knowing some of the Beatles. I don't think people understand that not everyone knows every artist who has ever made the top 100. So can we stop acting like kids need to know who the Beatles or Neil Diamond or the Rolling Stones are? It's fine to explore whatever music you like, but to flame someone for not knowing old artists from decades ago is pointless. I mean, agreed, but I'm pretty sure boomers, and tbh everyone in the Western world, knew Beethoven, Mozart, or Bach, even if they can't name a single piece. Sure, just as long people don't crap on boomers for not knowing who Billie Eilish is. Why crap on them? Teach them about the music instead, I guess, but I also can't imagine how you can be a famous singer at her age and not know the Beatles. It's not just a taste thing, it's about knowing the history and influences behind modern music. I think it's fair to say that knowing who the Beatles are and knowing all of their work is completely different. I mean, she works in the music industry. It's like if I worked at a jeans store and couldn't tell you what Levi's are. I don't expect you to know all the different fits Levi's sells, but I expect you to know the basics. Crapping on kids who don't know an artist before their time and crapping on a working musician who doesn't know the biggest band in the history of rock music are two very different things. I'm a violinist and I don't know shit about classical music, nor do I care. Billie Eilish is a modern pop artist, yet people act like it's a sin to not know who Van Halen is. It doesn't take away from your talent or success, so I agree, why does it matter? For most kids this is fine. But Billie Eilish, her profession is music and she is in the music industry. Her not knowing iconic musicians from the past is like MLB players today not knowing who Babe Ruth is. Yes. I've been watching the Ken Burns country music documentary series with my boomer mom. I'm a millennial. I really don't care for this type of music, but I finally found something on TV that holds mom's interest that we can watch together and helps me learn more about what interests her. I wish she'd extend the same respect to me. Yes, I enjoy musical theater, stand-up comedy, and Bollywood movies. I realize you think they're stupid. I feel the same about your interests, but at least I'm respectful enough to not be so vocal about it. While I agree in principle there are certain artists that are exceptions. Everyone should know the Beatles, everyone should know Hendrix, everyone should know the Stones. Certain artists are too legendary and groundbreaking to not know, especially if it's someone who professes to interested in music. Since when does Billie Eilish not know the Beatles? She's covered numerous Beatles songs. You are not wrong. But there is a multiverse of difference between a musician not knowing famous bands and random kids not knowing bands. Took a composition class in college. First day of class, the instructor gets up and absolutely berates everyone for not have read Camus. How fucking pretentious and insecure do you have to be to verbally assault an entire class for not knowing about your favorite author? About 5 minutes into this, about 5 or 6 of us just left the class. I don't know about the others, but I dropped it and did some verbal judo to get into another comp class. When you're a musician it's kinda expected of you to know who one of the biggest bands of all time are. I'm pretty sure if you are 20, from an English-speaking country, and don't know about Nirvana, or Michael Jackson, or Frank Sinatra, you're irresponsibly unaware. It's called history. You know, shit that the present is built upon. To know nothing about the world from before you were born? That's pure ignorance. Billie even said herself that the Beatles were a huge influence on her. Everyone's a critic. Totally agree. And it wasn't the Beatles, who she actually likes and has covered before. It was Van Halen, who are way less relevant and influential. The average age of the people I work with is like 47, all dudes, me included, and I'm 22, they constantly give me shit for not knowing people or songs who peaked like 20 years before my birth. Based on neuroscience, people like the music they listen to at about ages 19 to 20 the most for the rest of their lives. As a musician, nothing special, just play in local bars for fun. I've ran into way too many people who seem to think less of me because I can't rattle off every member of Metallica or, insert other chart-topping band/artist. I don't even know all the artist names of some bands I like, much less groups I don't listen to.